Graham has gone through the setting up of the Model O torch set, and now I'm going to show you exactly how to light the torch correctly. The first thing we need to do is to purge the gases, and when we purge the gases it's always best to remove the nozzle from the neck, and this allows the gases to flow freely through the hose. So we open up the oxygen valve on the torch, we then open the regulator and we set it to a very low pressure. You can hear the gas flowing now, and it's on the first digit of the gauge. We do the same for the propane or propylene. In this case it's propylene in the yellow cylinder. We increase that, and again we can hear it, and then we turn it off. Refit the nozzle. The set should be leak tested, which we've already done, using an oxygen compatible leak detector spray, and it covers all the joints to the cylinder, the gauges, flashback arrestor, on each joint point and on the torch. So the pressure I've set here is just between the first and second markers on the gauge. It's a very low pressure. We only need 0.15 to 0.2 bar on the gauge pressure. The nozzle we need for the joint type required will be given on the table, depending on whether it's size 1, 2, 3, right through to size 5, depending on the lead code that you're welding. Most typical lead codes use just sizes 2 and 3, but some joint types, as you can see on the table, require a size 1, but obviously the heavier gauge lead requires right up to size 5. So when you're lighting, it's important that you've purged first, of course, and we light with a spark lighter because that is safer and lights a lower amount of gas with a flame, so this takes more gas and it's safer to light with a flame. So you can see there that there's much too much propane. I've opened the valve too greatly, but we can now trim that back to a size. This is a size 3, then that's sufficient in terms of flow, and then we introduce the oxygen and we can set the flame size we require. Now the correct cone shape is, and I say cone, is a small sharp pointed cone, and that's the correct shape of nozzle. Now there is a myth about this ball flame, and in fact there's a guy on YouTube, and he's very good lead welder. There's a few things he does wrong when he's setting up, but that's a safety issue from a perfectionist point of view. But he doesn't know the technical term for the inner cone, which of course is the inner flame cone, and that's the outer envelope. But he doesn't know the name, so he calls it a ball, and he calls it a ball flame, and people have referred to the ball flame repeatedly, but it's not a ball flame, as you can see from that. It's a very small sharp cone, and it's very, very stable, and obviously won't go out, and that allows you to be lead welding in wind and everything else. So when we're turning off, we turn the fuel off first, and then the oxygen. So we've got, I'm going to do a size 1, which is the smallest. Again, it just requires a nip and a little bit of fuel. And I've got too much fuel. We reduce it down, and being a very small nozzle, we only want that much fuel when we're lighting up, and then we can set the inner cone. And that is the smallest of the lightweight nozzles, and that's the number 1. Let's put in a number 5. This is the largest. Again, with propane and propylene, you always have too much fuel gas available. Turn that up. A little bit more oxygen. Control it back on the torch. we have a number 5 lid. Now this is a P4. There we go, that's a 34 flame, and again, very stable, single cone, nice and sharp, so it enables you to do your lead welding quite easily. The other advantage we've got with the nozzles Modelo torch is that whilst it's in use, you're able to turn the flame around so that you can weld in any position you wish when you're lead welding without having to turn off and turn back on again. When you finish, you've turned the valves off, you return the pressure adjusting knob back to 0 and make sure it's just loose, not hard, because then when somebody else comes to it they know that it's not hard off and they know that there's no pressure setting there. We do the same for the propane. Return it to 0 and then just back it off slightly, and then you purge the gases out. And then when we're purging at the end of the day, we take the light out of the torch, allow the gas out, and it does it quickly. Turn the valve back off, and the same for the propane, and turn it back off. Thank you.